Hello, welcome back to another live. My name is Laken, and I go live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern to answer any questions you have about goals, planning, and life, and just some time for us to hang out and chat and get to know each other a little bit better. Help me help you through whatever struggles, goal related or life that you're having. One of my favorite hours of the week to just get to sit and chat with you. So let's kick it off with our first question that we always start with, which is, what are you drinking? So if you are here live, I would love to hear in the chat, the live chat, what you're drinking or what you're doing while you're here hanging out. And if you are part of the replay fam, thanks for making time for the replay. I would love to hear down in the comments what you are drinking or what you're doing while you're catching the replay. I've got handy dandy iced coffee, not quite filled to the top for caffeine limits, but I did it in one of my new merch products, which I love. This done is better than perfect. Although I just realized last time I used it was for a smoothie. It didn't totally get clean. So hopefully my coffee doesn't taste like smoothie. I mean, it doesn't right now. It's so good. Okay. We got some coffee. We got some water. Thanks for the sticker idea the other day to track water. Yeah. If you did not see, if you don't follow me on Instagram or you didn't catch my stories, because I mean, it's impossible to watch everybody's stories. I think I talked about this tip as a suggestion for other people before, but I never have done it myself because I've always either A, had a good memory when it came to knowing how much water I had, or B, I used to use this like big water jug and I would fill that up and keep that in my fridge and then pour it into my actual cup. Well, that water jug was getting kind of gross and I didn't bring it with us to Chicago. I got rid of it and I haven't gotten a new one yet. And I have been having trouble remembering how much water I had with my pregnancy brain. And so I started using stickers. I just grabbed like a Michael sticker book that I had on hand and had these little hearts in it. And I try to have 4 of these a day right now. That's my current goal. And so I just stick 4 of them on in the morning. And then as I finish it, I take it off and throw it away. And that's how I remember how many of these of water I've had. I've always recommended measuring your water in cups or devices that you're using as opposed to like ounces. Ounces is just complicated. Now, obviously you can convert like this, I think. Honestly, actually, it doesn't say. I have no idea. I mean, I could measure it, figure out how many ounces are in this thing. But that would stress me out. Like, I'm just so much better doing it this way. And then I've also gotten this question before. So then when I go out to eat and I'm having water at places that isn't actually in my cup, I just guesstimate. Like, did I hit my goal? Did I not hit my goal? How do I feel at the end of the day? Okay, let me have a sip of water while I finish. We got a Fanta. Is it Fanta? Fanta? It's Fanta. That's what the commercial said. Fanta Zero. Ice cold Pepsi while working on schoolwork. Love it, Sarah. Water. Sparkling water with grapefruit. A couple of PG Tips tea, just at the perfect temperature. Yum. San Pellegrino. Water. Water and working on your Bible study. Water and iced coffee. Lots of water today. Everybody staying extra, extra hydrated. All right, let's go to our second question that we always start with, which is, what is one small win that you want to share that you are proud of? It doesn't have to be huge. Y'all know that. Small progress is still progress. And it is important that we celebrate. That's what I think. I think it's important that we celebrate that progress. So I would love to hear, what is one small win that you want to share? It's a new month. How is your new month going? I'm excited to hear all about it. So any wins that you want to share, both if you're here live, share in the chat. If you are catching the replay, I would also love to hear your wins. We have a question at the end too, and I love seeing the replay comments when you like add them in and you're like, here's my first comment of what I'm drinking, here's my win, and then make it to the end and share your ending question answer. Jamie, drinking a naked smoothie a 3rd week in a row. I had a lot of those in my first trimester. Planted all my flowers. Jennifer, I love that. I bet that just makes your home feel so like homey and springy. Last night was your first running mindfully workshop, Tina. So excited for you. I hope that it went well. Read the article that I was supposed to. Making progress a key. I love it. Love hearing about all your wins. My room is currently clean. That's definitely a win. I cannot say the same. Our bedroom turned into a disaster over the weekend, and I kept saying I was going to do it. Didn't happen Monday. Tuesday, if you didn't see on Instagram or you're not in the community, our power went out over the last night, or it went out at like 1-ish p.m. And so then we went to my mom's. Debbie, I've been considering weight loss surgery and decided to move forward. So proud of you for making that decision for yourself and sending you all the good and healthy vibes. as you go on that journey. Love hearing about all of your wins. Feel free to keep sharing them. Again, I personally think that we do not celebrate enough, or we wait to celebrate until it's like some big giant milestone. And it's just, if we wait until those moments, sometimes they never come because we give up along the way. I have one quick announcement before we jump into questions. I know I've been promising this for 2 months since the move has happened, that I would get all of the community updates and details written out as opposed to just like talking about them in various places. And I finally did that. It is on the Teachable website. Like when you click on the community, there are so many details now. There's a video of me. It's only 4 minutes. It's very short, explaining all the details if you want to listen to it verbally. And then there's also all of the details written out, everything the community comes with, what all the different calls are like, an example of a calendar, as well as kind of what Teachable looks like on the inside. What else is on there? Just like it's a lot. So if you are interested in learning more about the community and you're sick of hearing me talk about it in various places and you want to be able to see it all in one place, click on the link in the description box and go check out all of those details. You can see it all lined up there. Our topic for May is rest. We kicked it off last night talking about all the different types of rest and just a lot of light bulb moments, knowing that rest doesn't have to just mean either sleep or like sitting on the couch, binge watching Netflix. Both of those are definitely forms of rest, but there are so many other types of rest. So highly recommend, if you're interested, checking that out. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message, but I feel good about finally getting that up for you. I know I've had a lot of questions over the last couple of weeks. What are the different calls? What do they mean, et cetera? And so that is all finally there for you. All right, let's jump back to the questions. A couple more wins. Progress to your first set of walking lunges with weights. That is exciting. Plan my Saturday out for the first time. I love it. Brenda, thank you for being my example. If your YouTube name is not the name that you prefer to go by, I would love for you to include your name in the comment. That way I'm able to address you by your name. I had a coffee date for myself and got to work on your side hustle for 2 hours. That's an awesome win. I always get so much more done at a coffee shop than I do at home. All right, let's get into it. What questions do you have? If you don't know how to phrase whatever you want to talk about into a question, you can always put topic. Even if you feel like it is a topic or a question that is so specific to your life and your goals, I promise either somebody else has that exact same struggle as you and will benefit from my response, or they will still benefit even if theirs is slightly different. Realize this weekend I need to incorporate more walking and not just cycling. So you got a step machine for your standing desk. That is awesome. I mean, just standing in general is progress, but that is exciting. I feel that about needing to get more steps in. Topic. I'm glad we're doing rest this month. It was one of my suggestions. It was a lot of people's suggestions. I talked about this last night. So like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I asked the community members if they had any requests or suggestions for topics for the community, because every month we're picking a topic to focus on. And man, y'all, I have so many things for the rest of the year. Like it is just going to be great. But rest was a very, very commonly requested one, and it was already on my list. So I decided to prioritize that. But to finish this, I tend to struggle with using rest as procrastination. So 100%. Okay. Most of us are either one camp or the other. Either we're not getting enough rest, or I don't even want to say you're over resting, but you're resting as a form of procrastination. And what I would encourage you, 2 things. Number one of the topics or one of the things we're going to dig into is the amounts of rest and the amounts of the varying types of rest. And so once you can get comfortable with the amount of rest that you need in your life, and obviously it varies by day, by week, by month, by year, but once you figure that out, it can be easier for you to stop using it as procrastination. If you're like, okay, I did my rest time for the day, and now I need to get up and do whatever it is I need to do. So that is going to be step 1. But regardless of that, the rest or feeling like you need to rest is not necessarily what's causing the procrastination. And I do have a separate video on the 5 reasons you're likely procrastinating. So I would encourage you to go back and rewatch that video if this is something that you're struggling with. But figuring out what is the reason you're procrastinating on whatever it is you're procrastinating right? What is actually holding you back from doing that action? It's likely not the rest's fault. That it's like it in my brain that using rest procrastination doesn't fall into the rest category. It falls into the procrastination category, and that which is another topic that was requested a lot that I eventually will do for a monthly topic. But why are you procrastinating on that step, and how can you break out of that? Whether you were using rest or even something else, that's, I feel like, the priority and what would be beneficial to focus on. And Jennifer, I don't know if I would be coordinated enough to do that, talking about Shaney's stand cycle, like walking thing. I don't know if I would either, depending on what I was doing. Like if back when I worked my corporate job, like there were sometimes I was on a call just for like informational purposes. Like I wasn't actually going to be saying anything. I was just there to like listen. That I feel like I could walk and do at the same time. A lot of the stuff I do now, I don't think I could walk and do it at the same time. I'm not the best at it yet. Just got it this morning, but I have the desk and it's very similar to walking in place. And I guess you start at a slow speed, right? And get used to the movement of it. And then you can always increase it. If you're just trying to get steps, who cares what speed you're going at, right? All right. Great question or topic, though, to bring up and to kick us off with. What else is on your mind? What other questions or struggles you're having? Questions about something that I've shared or posted that you want me to share a little bit more? I know my May goals video is up a little bit later than normal this month. Normally, I try to do that video on the first of the month. The first Monday of the month is the goals video. And obviously the first Monday of this month was the first, but because of when I was creating content in April, it would have been way too quick of a turnaround to get it up by this Monday. So it will be up next Monday, but it's a lot. Mary, I've been feeling paralyzed for the drive for perfection. I want the perfect results as my end goal, but since what I want is truly not attainable, I don't take action. Oh. Mary, you are not alone, first off, in that scenario. We actually just talked about this also last night on our coaching call, where somebody asked that, perfection, the fear of imperfection is what she believes is holding her back from achieving her goals. And you already figured out the first part of the answer, which is that perfection doesn't exist. Like perfection is a construct and it does not truly exist. And so you first have to get comfortable with the idea that what you are defining as perfection is you just comparing it to something else. So what are you comparing it to? When we think of like other places perfection has popped up in our lives, it's like, did you get a perfect score on the test? Well, that is being compared to the grading rubric. That doesn't mean that like it literally was perfect. It means the grading rubric that the teacher created, in comparison to that, it was perfect or imperfect. That said, I also want you to think about grading as an example. When you were in school, if you got a 90 on something, depending on the subject, depending on what kind of student you were probably pretty thrilled with that result. And that was not perfect, but it was still good, right? It was something you were still excited about. And so the same thing can be true for your goals. So that's the first step, is accepting that perfection does not exist. What are you comparing it to? And what can you debunk in terms of that comparison? Step number 2 is knowing that the action that you're going to take is going to be imperfect regardless, but knowing that imperfect action is better than no results. I feel like there's a quote that's something like that. Like imperfect action is better than nothing. So taking action is better than nothing. This is also the scenario when taking action is going to then kickstart that momentum for you and for you to be able to keep going. Because if you sit there and think about it, you're never going to do it. But if you start doing it, you stop thinking about overthinking it, and then you just keep going. So what you have to try and do is figure out what is that one small step, that one imperfect step that you can take to kickstart the action that you want to get going on. The last thing, which was suggested by a community member last night that I thought was brilliant, is asking yourself this question. What happens if I do it imperfectly? Like, what happens? And I made the joke that most things in our lives, if we do them imperfectly, are not going to result in like us going to jail, right? Like if you are doing something imperfectly, it's going to be okay. Like the result, you're going to survive and you're going to be just fine. So asking yourself, well, what happens if I do it imperfectly? Also, I didn't put this on a sticker for anything. Done is better than perfect. Whatever it is that you feel like you're struggling with, how can you redefine that? And there's so many ways to go about this. It really depends on the action step you are feeling paralyzed about. Is it habits and feeling like if you don't do them every day, they don't happen? Is it cleaning something in your house and you feel like if you're not perfectly cleaned, it's not worth it, right? Like there's a lot of ways to like attack it depending on what it is that you're going after. If you want to share a specific example that you're struggling with that we can work through, I would love to help you. But if you're not comfortable doing that, hopefully something that I said there would be beneficial. Yeah, I wanted a walking pad, but I just don't have a space. Oh, wait, I need to go back and read what you said. Oh, a step machine. That is different than a walking pad. So like you're actually like taking vertical steps, not just walking. Yeah, I really don't know that I would be like effective at that. How do I get my husband to understand my newly found paper planning and written goals lifestyle, the planning, time, and tools needed to execute them? Jennifer, that is a tough question. And I need to start with the caveat that I'm not a relationship coach and I am not necessarily your relationships with anybody's relationships with other people in their life is founded on so many other factors and so many other things that any kind of advice or tips I can even remotely fathom for this question may or may not be beneficial depending on your relationship with other people in your life. That said, what has worked for me is just being very explicit about the benefits that I get from them, right? Like I also try to find a comparison. So like my husband does not write things down either, but he obviously has systems that he uses for his business. And like, just like you would do this, I do it this way. And that might require a little bit more time or more supplies because I'm doing it handwritten. But what I get out of that is this, that, and the other. I achieve my goals, etc. And obviously, in my book, goals, not obviously, in my opinion, goals lead to happiness. That is the ultimate underlying reason why I talk about them. And my husband wants my happiness. So if I am achieving my goals, I am therefore happy. And so I just explained that's the system. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, there are so many facets to this that are like relationship based that I'm not necessarily the right person to respond. Similar but different. How do I handle my husband wanting the house perfect all the time, but me still trying to learn a routine of cleaning the house, working full time? You have a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, and you're expecting. Alexandria, that is a lot of things. You are trying to keep literally four humans alive. You, your 2 children, and your unborn child. Once again, caveat, not a relationship coach, not anything I can like really comment on with your relationship with your husband. But I think what it comes down to is communication. And I also have found that a lot of times, and this could be very backwards in other partnerships, is they may not fully understand all the other things that you're doing, like everything that is on your list. And I'm not saying to like make this massive list of like things you do and things they don't do and like hand it to them and be like, here's all the things that I do. But there's only so many hours in a day and there is only so much energy in a day. And if that is not given that, and you're working full time, like I don't know when you would clean the house, I'm totally honest with you. So I think it's just communication, expectation, conversation, and perhaps if you can make it work in your budget is for now in this season of life for your family is getting help in that scenario. Jennifer, this month I am reevaluating my goal whys. Any suggestions or tips for this process? Yeah, so I do a video on this that I did a while ago. That is like the topic of the video is figuring out if it's the right goal for you. But a lot of the questions that I encourage you to ask in that video could really help you with this process. The ultimate suggestion, though, is to pretend that you are a toddler. And if you've ever interacted with a toddler and they ask you a question and you give them an answer and they say, but why? And then you give them what you think is a satisfactory answer to that. And they disagree. So they say, but why? Again, like, but why to that? And you do that like 4 or 5 times until they give up and move on to something else. I want you to but why yourself. I want you to keep asking yourself, but why, but why, but why, until you get to a why that really matters. Like, what is the why that actually means something to you? Because there's a lot of surface level whys. And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes it's enough to get us started. Sometimes it's enough to keep us going. Most of the time, it's not enough to get us across the finish line. We've got to find the deep, deep level why of what is really driving this to be a goal on your list. Now, sometimes when I go through this exercise, I actually discover that I don't have one, and there's not a good one. And so sometimes I deprioritize goals because of it, because I realize that the why is not as important as I wanted it to be, or needed it to be. But most of the time, and the other piece of it is it won't always come to you right away. Like, you're not necessarily, I know, like, you're scheduling time to work on this. It might not come to you right away. Like, you might realize it at a later time. But by starting that process of asking yourself, you're putting it at the forefront of your mind to look for the why, of that particular goal. And that might be helpful in you ultimately finding it. But excited to hear about how this goes for you. I think it's a really valuable exercise. And I think, and I've talked about this in a few places before, I think that we need to check in with our whys more often, because what might have been your why in December for a particular goal might be different now. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to erase that goal. Like, just because it's a different why doesn't mean it's a bad why. It just means that it's not the why that you had originally set out. And knowing that purpose for yourself can not only motivate you and keep you going, but it can help you determine the action steps that you're taking. Because if the why is something else than what you originally thought, the action steps could also differ. And so keeping that in mind, while I was talking, I was trying to think of a good example of this, like something that the why has changed. And so the action steps have changed. Oh, I have a great example. When we were preparing for the wedding and I was working out to prepare for the wedding, the why was that I wanted to feel confident in my dress. Now, I wasn't trying to like lose a certain number of pounds. I just wanted to feel more confident. That meant that I was doing certain types of exercises more, because those were the pieces of my body that were going to be shown off in my dress, just point blank. I did a lot more arm workouts leading into the wedding than I do on a normal basis. And because the why behind my workouts was the wedding. After the wedding was over, I didn't want to just stop working out. I wanted to keep working out. But the why then shifted to something different. And so the types of workouts that I chose to do were different. And it doesn't mean that it was any more motivating or less motivating. It was just different action steps. So something else to keep in mind while you're working on that exercise. Diana, my goals are basically all habit and routine oriented. I feel they would improve the quality of life, but I'm wondering if I'm missing something because I don't have any big life goals. Ooh, I love this question. Okay. It also helps that I know you a little bit better since we have worked together one-on-one, but I'm going to answer this. Hopefully that will help anybody. First off, I do a video on this because somebody asked a very similar question one time that I felt was a good video topic. So it's called big goals versus small goals. Crux of the video, the moral of the story is there is no such thing as big and small. It is kind of like perfect. It is a descriptor that you're giving to your goals because you're comparing it to something else or somebody else. Somebody else's life, a prior you, you're comparing it to something else, and that is resulting in the definition of big or small. And so when you think about your current set of goals, is that they are habit and routine oriented, that can be a big goal. Like if it is drastically going to improve the quality of your life, even if it's not drastically, even if it's just going to improve, right? It still can be considered a quote unquote big goal. It doesn't have to be like I talk in that video, like it doesn't have to be like, oh, I want to quit my job, or oh, I want to um, move to a different city, or oh, I want to buy a house, or whatever. Like again, comparison, society has trained us to believe that these are big life goals. Just because that is not how your goals shook out right now doesn't mean that your goals are bad. It just means that that is ultimately what is going to be beneficial in your life. And again, that could be big. It could have an impact on your goals. So, or on your life. Kind of like I said earlier, ultimately, the reason I talk about goals is because I truly believe that we all deserve to live a life that we enjoy living, that makes us happy. That's like the ultimate goal. And goals are how you get there. For some people, that's going to look like these big traditional goals. For other people, it's going to look like habits and routines that you are implementing so you have more time to do other things that make you happy, or so that you are able to enjoy your house because it's in a clean state, or whatever it is that's going to make you happy and create a life that you enjoy living, because that's the ultimate purpose. So hopefully that helps you. Maybe go back and rewatch that video. I know I'm referencing a lot of videos in this live. I feel like that happens a lot because I do have videos about a lot of topics. I mean, I've been making videos on YouTube. This month, it'll be 5 years. That is bananas to me. So I have a lot of videos. For a while, I was uploading 3 to 4 videos a week. So there's a lot of videos. And even if you, and when I reference them, I am assuming that there are people here that haven't heard me talk about that. Like you might not know that I have a video about big goals versus small goals. But even if you watched it the day it came out, you watched that video with your current goals in mind. And regardless of whether that was last week or last year, your goals have changed. Your life has changed. And so your mindset when you watch that video is going to be different now than it was then. And so I would encourage you to, if it's a topic, I'm not saying go back and watch every single video every single month when you change your goals. But what I'm saying is that if there's a topic that you feel like you're struggling with and your brain goes, well, you've already watched that video, so it's not going to be helpful. But your goals are different. Your life is different than when you first watched that video. It will be helpful. Go watch that video. It is likely going to bring something up for you that you didn't realize the last time you watched it. Okay, I need to breathe for a second. My nose is very stuffy still. Again, symptom. Hello, Wendy. No need to apologize. Latte and green juice. Your win is Pinteresting your pantry. I love it. Melissa, maybe Alexandria, maybe you and your husband can look at your budget and hire a cleaning service to come once a week or every other week to help lighten the load. Definitely a great suggestion if you can fit it in, for sure. Or maybe it's offering, to swap services with somebody else, right? Could you have someone's little one over for a play date so they can go grocery shopping? In exchange, they can, help you do something else. It may not exactly be cleaning, but could help alleviate time or money somewhere that you could use towards cleaning. Jennifer, good suggestion. In using the rest theme, can you talk about that aspect of paper planning and that it's a form of rest for you? That's a good suggestion. Yeah. Relationship things are tough. When you have goals that are related to other people or that impact other people, it does get complicated. Ultimately, I think that it comes down to communication and explaining to the people involved the why and why it's important. Amanda, in a meeting today, wanted to stop by and say hi with your other account, with your other YouTube channel. Hello. All right, it looks like I'm all caught up on comments, questions. So many good ones so far. What else do you feel like is holding you back? Or what else do you feel like is stopping you from taking steps, taking action? Is it lack of coffee? Do you need more coffee? I love coffee. Coffee is so good. Anything else that y'all want to chat about or feel like you need a pep talk for? It's only the third. If you need a pep talk that you've already missed steps and this was going to be your perfect month because it started on a Monday, you still have 29 days, 28, 29, depending on what time you do your habit. That's a lot of days. I'm not saying you need to do all those to be perfect either. But there's still so much time left this month. Shani, using the idea of rest as an excuse for not doing other things. Did you leave us for a minute? Because we definitely talked about that a little bit early. Amberly was asking about using rest as a form of procrastination. And my recommendation was that is less about the rest and more about the procrastination itself. And to think about the why you're procrastinating it. And you're just using rest as a form of procrastination. Fun fact, what movies is everyone excited to see this year? This month, I'm excited to see, I'm going to answer first. If anyone else wants to share, The Little Mermaid comes out this month, which I am so excited. And then I feel like there was something else I just saw a commercial for, but it's not till like November or December. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Like what movie is like way later this year that I like just saw a preview for? Yeah, The Little Mermaid. I feel like that's it. To be honest, I'm not a big, well, especially right now because I go to the bathroom every like 5 seconds. I don't love going to the movies and movie theaters. They're really expensive. I mean, it's a fun experience, but like most movies is not that different on the big screen than it is at home. Now, some of them that's different, like seeing Avatar on the big screen, like that was really necessary. But most of them I'm like, can we just wait until like it comes home or until it like comes out and then we can just watch it. Although nowadays most movies, like they're not coming when they become available. It's not like a $5 rental. It's like $20 rental. So then I'm like, well, maybe should I just go to the movies? I don't know. Has anyone seen the Super Mario movie? Because Sam really wants to go see that. I don't really have a desire, but kind of want to go with him. Another Little Mermaid. Excited for the Hunger Games. Oh, that was it. Oh, I'm so excited for that. I didn't read the book though. Now I'm wondering if I should read the book before I see that movie. Anybody who has any thoughts on that, please let me know. I'm going to come back. I know a couple of you asked some other questions. I'm going to come back up to them. I was just bringing up the movie. I haven't seen Air. I'm very much interested in it. I saw Air. I really enjoyed the movie. I saw it in theaters with my mother-in-law and Sam when we were in Houston because she loves to go to the movies. Again, that movie, great. It's not necessary to see on a big screen. Like if you can hold out until it comes out, it is a great movie. Watch it, but later, like when it comes out. I did really enjoy it though. Okay. Any thoughts on getting over the hump when it comes to making time to go back to the gym after some not so fun experiences? I want to go back to the gym, but I don't want to. Ooh, great question. So there's a couple pieces to this, right? There's the mental aspect and then the practical aspect of it. So from a mental aspect, you have to decide that why you want to go back to the gym is more important than the mental struggle of not going to the gym. So now you might ultimately decide that you actually just would rather work out at home and not deal with it, but just what do you get out of working out at the gym that you don't get out of doing it in another format? And is that worth the offset of like the negative experience that you may or may not have in the future? And working on that mental break. Then it's the practical, right? Getting it back into your schedule. And going to the gym is so much more effort than like me telling you to do a 5-minute, 10-minute workout at home and just like starting small. The effort of going to the gym, if you're like, I'm only going for 5 or 10 minutes, it's not worth it. And I get that. And so, but it doesn't have to be like an hour, right? Like you could still get benefits out of going there and doing 20 minutes of something. And because that's better than nothing. And so how can you start incorporating that and working on the gym as a habit, as opposed to, oh, well, if I don't have a full hour and a half to dedicate to the gym, it's not worth going. Hopefully that was helpful. I've been super productive the past couple of days. Just hope it continues through the week. Don't hope, Amy, make it happen. You can totally do it. And just know that there are days that days fluctuate and your productivity is not going to be the same every single day, whether it is unexpected, like my power going out yesterday that interrupted my productivity, or it is expected, like you have a big work meeting. That was a bad example for you. I apologize. A big work meeting that's going to take up more of your time, or unexpected, you wake up and you just don't feel that great that day, right? Like there's so many fluctuations for productivity that you cannot compare later you to earlier you and vice versa. And you just have to focus on the next, whether that's the next 5 minutes, the next hour, the next day, the next week, etc. Mary, to my earlier question, a good example would be doing my nails. They never end up looking like I want them to look. I would love to have pretty nails, but tend to focus on the parts that I don't like. I appreciate you sharing an example. So if you missed her earlier question, we were talking about perfection and how knowing that it's not going to be perfect holds you back from doing it. Now, the obvious solution or option for this is like going to get your nails done. Although to be honest, sometimes they don't even do as perfect of a job as I would rather do it at home. And then I'm like, and I paid for this, but also that may not fit in your budget. Also, it takes a lot more time typically. So what I would recommend is if this is something that's important to you, know that you can always get better and you can learn. So Googling how to be better. I actually just, wait, where did they go? I just got a new thing of toothpicks because I tend to use toothpicks to like clean up the edges of my nails. That I find that really helps. But and I got that tip from somebody on the internet. So focusing on getting better at it. Yes, it's never going to be actually perfect, but focus on getting better. And every time you do it, think of it as an opportunity to practice. And you again, focus on the better and not being perfect. That in general with goals, focusing on more or better is always, always a good mental practice as opposed to perfect and all or nothing. But know that you're going to get better over time the more that you do it. If you never do it, you're never going to get any better. You're not just going to wake up one day and be perfect or even great at painting nails. So that's a good example. Ooh, Lenny, I could use some ideas for rest from my electronics. I feel like my rest time is always filled with cell phone games and TikTok. And those are definitely options. And you may just want to limit that at some point. Obviously, reading a physical book is a good option. One of the examples I used on the call yesterday was playing an instrument, is a good option to step away from electronics. It could be doing something with your hands, something crafty, whether that's knitting or a puzzle or scrapbooking or some kind of something physical with your hands. Excuse me. Let me think. Going outside and doing something. Going for a walk, maybe. Yes, read the book. I really liked it. New perspective on snow. Okay, Jennifer, I'm going to add to my list. It doesn't come out till later this year, so I have plenty of time. Somebody was also messaging me recently suggesting that maybe I try. I haven't really been an audiobook person in general. I definitely can't see myself being a nonfiction audiobook reader because I like to highlight when I'm reading nonfiction. I don't think I would retain as much if I was just listening to it. Somebody suggested fiction audiobooks when the baby is here, and if I don't have a hand to, if I'm just feeding or whatever, and I don't have hands to hold a book, but I could listen to a fiction book. So I try that and later on this year. I wish I could be excited for The Little Mermaid, but Disney has been flopping these live actions. So, Melissa, I hear you on that. I think it depends on the live action. Some of them have been very mediocre, but I've actually really enjoyed some. I think Aladdin is great. What's the other one that I really liked? I actually really liked The Lion King. I thought it was good. I feel like there's another one I'm not thinking of. I feel like some of them have been okay, but I feel like some of them have been good. And I'm really interested. Where I'm torn is less about the live action piece of this movie and more about the fact that, if y'all didn't know, Lin-Manuel Miranda, the guy who wrote Hamilton and In the Heights, is involved. He not only wrote a new song for the movie, but if you look at the credits on the original songs, it says updated lyrics. So for Poor Unfortunate Souls and Under the Sea. I'm like, do we need to change them? So I'm going to see how that goes. It'll be interesting. Jennifer, I've read The Hunger Games, but never saw any of the movies. Oh, I love the movies. Oh, watch the movies. They're good. There's little things that weren't, that, as with any book, when they turn it to a movie and not like a show, nowadays it feels like it's much more common for it to be like an 8-episode, 10-episode show so that you have more time. So there's obviously things missing, but I think they did a great job. And I also just love Jennifer Lawrence. River J, hello. Topic, staying on top of a plan that isn't seeing a lot of feedback yet. YouTube channel growth, inspiration, motivation to keep it your plan. Okay, great question. So number one is having the why behind the channel for yourself. And we talked about whys a little bit earlier on the live, but knowing what the why is. Now, if the why is growth, then learning more about how to grow, because there are, like, I don't post content with the intention of growth. That is not, like, somebody asked me last week about my subscriber numbers. I haven't for years post content with growth, with a growth mindset. And I know that. And so I don't expect my channel to necessarily grow. And I'm okay with that. The purpose of my channel is engagement and, what's the word? There's another word I can't think of, but it's about our relationship. And I want to deepen our relationship, not grow and find new people. So if the why behind the channel is to grow, for, again, with the but why exercise, and really what's the why, but if it is to grow, then learning how to be more effective on YouTube with growth as the goal. If the why is not to grow, it's for some other reason, it's a creative outlet, it's to find a community of people, it's whatever that is, then don't worry about the growth. Don't worry about the numbers. The numbers are not important. Knowing what is important and measuring against that, and then creating the content that's going to help with whatever that focus is the important piece. Hopefully that makes sense. I can decide if I want to grab my water or my coffee. Now I'm like very behind on comments. My sons and husband love the Mario movie, and I really enjoyed it too. Okay. Yes, nail painting. The thing about nails is the more you do it, the better they look. Former terrible nail painter here. One thing you could do is paint them and then immediately take the polish off, or paint them on a day week you aren't going out. Those are also great suggestions. Debbie, I also struggled with the small goals, big goals, because I didn't have big goals at the time. However, I did want my life and home to be smoother and efficient, which became my big goal. So my focus was habits and routines. 100%. That, and to somebody who like it, depending on your life, that may not feel like a big goal to you, but if that is going to massively change your life, like that could be a very big goal. So I think the big goal, small goal thing ultimately comes down to comparison and letting go of that. I'm also not an audio learner, so listening to nonfiction doesn't work for me. I started listening to fiction books that have already gotten my brain used to it. I started with the Harry Potter and now find it easier to listen to new fiction books. Jennifer, getting used to it by listening to a series that you've already read is a really great idea. Like, that seems like a really great suggestion that I want to don't want to forget that. Yay for the Little Mermaid, but Flounder looks strange. I agree, Jennifer. Flounder's looking a little funky. Another question I have is, can Melissa McCarthy sing? Do we know? Have we ever experienced that in some other movie and I just don't know it? It's another thing I'm thinking about. Monique, community. Is this the topic you want to chat about, or do you have a question related to it? Or are you answering somebody else's question? I'm trying to think what it would go with. I love biography memoirs on audiobook when they are read by the author. That's what I've also heard. I tried to read audiobooks, listen to audiobooks a couple of months ago by starting with the Barack Obama book, and then ultimately got distracted and decided not to. But I've also heard this is a great place to start for audiobooks is biographies and memoirs. I've done a couple of fiction books for long car rides. Fiance and I just finished Ready Player One and Ready Player Two. I've also heard of this as a good suggestion. Yes, Becoming by Michelle Obama was awesome. I love that book. Y'all, the top shelf, you probably can't see because it's so far away. Those three books. So there's me and Sam. Next to me and Sam, this way. That's Barack Obama's book, and then both of Michelle Obama's books. I just love them. They're basically shot for shot remakes. I'd like to see more creative liberties. Like Beauty and the Beast, I like that they teleport in where the book where I can't read. I liked that they teleport with the book to see where Belle is born, but that's just me. Interesting. So maybe that is why I actually liked Aladdin, because I felt like Aladdin was different. I felt like, I mean, not just the new song, which y'all, that song, and the actress whose name I'm blanking on, who plays Jasmine, amazing. But it's different. Whereas you're right, The Lion King is literally a shot for shot remake with CGI animals instead of drawn animals. I feel like there's another one I'm thinking of that I'm forgetting that I did like. I know I did not see The Jungle Book because I have a massive phobia of snakes and I can barely handle cartoon snakes, let alone live action snakes. So I knew that was not going to be a movie for me. I also went through a phase where I was listening to nonfiction audiobooks while reading the book. I've heard of people doing that as well. Yeah. It's so much easier for me to listen and retain what I read to audiobooks than when I physically read. Amber, that is so interesting. I feel like, I mean, everybody's listening style is so different. Learning style is the word I meant there. Whether you learn best from reading or doing or listening or watching or whatever it is, everybody's learning style is so different. Wendy, in 2020, my 2020 skill is doing my own nails. I started with gel and now I'm doing dip. That is amazing. Oh, I've heard Melissa McCarthy sing on Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, cool. I mean, I assumed what, she's not just gonna fail at, but I just wasn't sure if it was gonna be her voice or if it was gonna be very auto-tuned because I have never heard her sing. But I'm excited. Oh, Monique was trying to say your channel built community. Yes, that for me, there's another word that I'm thinking of too that it wasn't community, but yes, the purpose of my channel is not to grow and have a big, massive number. It's about our relationship, and community to me not only means our relationship with each other, but y'all's relationships with each other and like recognizing each other's names. And that for me is just like hands down one of the drivers for my channel. And those, I almost knocked my computer over. Those two things are usually in conflict. Like if you're posting content to see growth in numbers, it's going to look very different and feel very different and likely not result in those same things. Now, you can ultimately do both if you are good at it. But like when I think of the big channels that I watch, I do feel like I have a relationship with the creator because I watch enough and I feel like I get to know them. I don't know any of the other people in the comments. I don't know any of their names, right? Like I don't know the other regular viewers of Jessica Braun, even though I am obsessed with her and like watch all of her videos. But I don't her community is us with her and not necessarily us with each other. If that makes sense. Appreciate it. Thanks for clarifying. Because yeah, I do feel like that's a big piece of it for me. So hopefully, River J, that was helpful. And whatever it is that's important for you and your channel, keep that in mind as you are staying motivated for it and not the numbers, unless the numbers are what is motivating. And then maybe you need to tweak the titles or the thumbnails to work on the growth aspect of it. A person I learned a lot from for YouTube channels in general, especially that topic, is Jessica Stansberry. I think she has a lot of great videos on like having a YouTube channel as a business. And she talks a lot about how at different phases, and you can scroll back on her channel and see this, she was focused on growth, and her video topics, video titles were very like searchable growth type titles. But now she has a different kind of twist on her videos and her perspective. And it's just very different. So hopefully that's helpful. All right. I'm all caught up again. Anything else? Any other movies? I feel like there's another one that's coming out this year that I am excited about. I know, is it next year? Wicked, the movie is coming out, although I'm not sure how I feel about Ariana Grande. I mean, she is amazing and talented. And I know she's been on Broadway, but like, because talking about flops, you know what I have been disappointed in terms of flops is the live action Broadway stuff, not live action, the lives, like the when they do them live on TV, those have been less than impressive. And that was when I saw Ariana Grande was in the Hairspray one, and I was like, oh yeah, Barbie. I don't know. I don't know if I really care. I don't know how I feel about that movie. Yeah, she wouldn't have been my first choice either, Allison. I feel like there's a lot more talented people. Like Ariana DeBose, who was in West Side and The Prom. Oh, I love her. She's hosting the Tonys again. Any other Broadway fans? That's what we could talk about. Any other Broadway fans? Check out the Tony nominations from yesterday. Some interesting things. Definitely a lot of that were expected, and then some shocks as well. River J, yes, thank you so much. This community is admirable and inspiring. Oh, I appreciate that. I'm torn on Wicked too. I would have loved to have them bring back Kristen and Idina. I don't know if they can pass as college though. I love them and their voices, but I think they might be a little old to be in the movie. I know that movie is magical and they can like make you look a lot younger, but so excited for Tony Awards. I usually throw a watch party, but not this year because it coincides with the horse show. You know, maybe that's what do y'all remember? I talked about this in a video at some point. Talking about, speaking of like long-term goals and like keeping a running list, hosting like a regular party, like this is the party we host every year is on my like list of things. The problem with the Tonys, it's a Sunday night. And do I want to be hosting a party that goes till 10 p.m. on a Sunday? I don't know. But I love the Tonys. We used to go to like a watch party at like a bar in New York. That was like how we celebrated the Tonys. I bet we can find that again here. I bet we can find that. Agree about the live TV versions. What were they thinking about putting Walken as his hook and Peter Pan? Yeah. The casting choices were questionable. Ooh, Allison. Okay. I've seen Shucked, but don't need it to win a Tony. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Kimberly Kimbo, same thing. Meh. I've heard if you are not from Jersey and you don't get the Jersey inside jokes, that Kimberly Kimbo is like not that exciting. Need to see Anne Juliet. Got New York, a lot of tickets for tonight, but couldn't go. Okay, so though basically all the ones she listed were the nominees for best new musical. I've heard the same things about Shucked and Akimbo, and so did not prioritize them. Anne Juliet is going on tour, so we did not prioritize it in New York because we know that we can see it when it comes here. It likely won't be the original cast, and I know that the lead performer is phenomenal, but it is what it is. New York is the one show we decided to see when the other show. We already had tickets for Sweeney that we bought forever ago because we knew Sweeney was going to hit it. So we got those tickets a while ago. And then we decided right before nominations came out, we were like, all right, we got to do something because ticket prices are going to change drastically. So we decided to go with New York. And I'm excited as it ended up. But one of the shocks that I've heard is the lead guy getting a nom for Best Actor, but the lead girl not getting a nomination for actress is one of the shocks because apparently she is so much better than he is in the show for New York. So I don't know. It's a pretty low-key party. I provide pizza and bingo. Hey, that still sounds like fun. I don't even remember the last time I watched the Tony Awards. If you're not a Broadway fan, let me take that back. Even if you are a Broadway fan, but you don't go see a lot of shows, watching the little performance clips in the Tonys is like really fun and really exciting. Like to just see pieces of the shows, I think is really cool. Even when I was in high school and I didn't before I lived in New York, it was rare that I saw a lot of the shows that were nominated. I listened to them, but I didn't go see them. But I liked seeing the clips of them. Like I vividly remember the In the Heights. They did 76,000. Wow, brain. 96,000. And it was phenomenal. Like when I was in high school. So that's one of my favorite things. I heard that the lead actress is stacked. I know. It could go anywhere. Same with lead actor, frankly. I'm way more excited for the revivals and the musicals, 100%. And that's what, and Sam and I were talking about that too, that we think when they announce the Tonys, usually they say best musical for last, and we think they should switch it and do best revival, because that matchup between Parade and Sweeney and Into the Woods, like, I don't know. We will have seen all of them by the time the Tonys happen. And seeing the two that I've seen so far, like, I think it could go anyway. It's going to be the revivals. I definitely think is more of a fierce matchup than the new musicals. To be honest, I think Anne and Juliet has new musical in the bag. I haven't seen New York yet, but based on what I know. All right. Oh my gosh, it's already 5 minutes still. We should have started our Tony's conversation earlier, because I could talk about this forever. Sam was on a call when they were announcing them yesterday. I watched the cheesy live on YouTube when they were announcing them. And Sam was on a call, and I was literally sending him texts like, oh my God, this, oh my God, that, oh my God. I think the biggest one was Bad Cinderella, which is Andrew Lloyd Webber. Did nothing. Zero. Crazy. Okay, let's wrap it up with our final question before we run out of time. What is the one step that you're going to take this week on your goals? What's the one action step that you are going to take to make progress on your goals? Allison, need to see Parade and want to see Sweeney. Hopefully you win New York again on the lottery. I think Sweeney also has a lottery, so hopefully you can get into those. I have a feeling those ticket prices are going to skyrocket. Get a gym membership. Sending you all the good vibes there. Send one of your bridesmaids bridal shower ideas and invite list. That's so exciting. Continue your Peloton streak. I love that. Write your paper and go to the gym. Awesome steps. I love hearing about everybody's different steps. My goal this week will be to enter all the lotteries. I mean, I used to set a timer on my phone to make sure I entered all of them. I have an eye appointment today, and we'll make all your annual appointments tomorrow. Crystal, love that. Patch holes in a room of your house to prep for painting. That's exciting. Immediate life tasks, pay car insurance, and renew your tags. Check that off. Those kinds of tasks, they may not directly correlate to a goal, but the amount of weight lifted off your shoulders is going to make achieving your other goals so much easier. Finalize summer camp. Oh, Monique, I love that. Kate getting a framed cross stitch up on the wall. I love that. That's exciting. And being able to see all the hard work that you put into it, and just be able to admire your progress. I love hearing about everybody's different steps. It doesn't take massive steps to make progress and ultimately achieve the things you want to achieve, big or small. I feel like that was a theme today. Hopefully you found this live helpful, whether we were talking about books or Tonys or goals. If you wouldn't mind giving it a thumbs up before you head out, I would greatly appreciate that. And if you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I do upload new videos every week focused on helping you achieve your goals and maybe just have a little bit of fun as well. Thanks so much for hanging out today with me, and I will see all of you soon.